At 2:17 a.m. on March 3, 2011, an elevator inside a luxury hotel in downtown Chicago stopped between the 12th and 13th floors. That alone wasn't unusual. What was unusual was what security cameras recorded inside. A young woman stood alone in the elevator, calm, silent, waiting. Then suddenly she began speaking, not into a phone, not to herself, but to something that wasn't there. Moments later, the elevator doors opened, not onto a floor but into complete darkness. The woman stepped out and vanished. She was never seen again. But 3 days later, the same elevator stopped again at exactly 2:17 a.m. And this time, it came back down with something else inside. The Langford Grand Hotel stood as one of Chicago's most prestigious buildings. Opened in 1928, it was known for its elegance, historic charm, and strange design choices. Like many old buildings, it had no 13th floor. After the 12th floor, the elevator buttons jumped directly to 14. Guests rarely questioned it. Superstition was common, but former employees knew something the public didn't. There was a 13th floor, it just wasn't accessible. No hallway, no rooms listed, no official records. And yet, maintenance logs occasionally referenced something unusual, Room 0. A room that didn't exist, on a floor that wasn't supposed to be there. Lena Hart was 26 years old, a freelance photographer visiting Chicago for a gallery showcase. She checked into the Langford Grand on March 1, 2011, room 1214. Security footage showed her returning to the hotel alone at 2:12 a.m. on March 3rd. She entered the elevator, pressed a button, but not her floor. She pressed 13. The camera captured something odd. There was no button labeled 13, yet her finger clearly pressed something between 12 and 14. The elevator doors closed, then reopened. Lena stepped back as if startled. She leaned forward as though someone had whispered to her from inside. Then she stepped back in. The doors closed again. The elevator began to move, then stopped between floors for exactly 47 seconds. The security footage recovered from that night is deeply unsettling. At first, Lena stands quietly. Then she turns toward the corner of the elevator. Listening, her expression shifts, confusion, then fear. She begins speaking softly. Investigators enhance the audio, but her words remain partially unclear. However, one sentence was unmistakable. "I'm not supposed to be here." Then she nods, as if responding to someone, but no one else appears on camera. The lights flicker. The elevator hum changes pitch. And then the doors open, but not to a hallway, not to a floor, just darkness. No walls, no lights, no visible structure, just an empty void. Lena hesitates, takes a step forward, then disappears into it. The doors slowly close. When Lena didn't return to her room, hotel staff reported her missing. Police reviewed the footage. They assumed a malfunction, maybe a hidden maintenance floor. Maybe Lena exited into a service area. But every inch of the building was searched. There were no hidden floors, no gaps between 12 and 14, no structural space large enough to contain a hallway. The elevator shaft was inspected. No signs of forced exit, no damage, no body, no trace of Lena Hart. It was as if she had simply stepped out of reality. 3 days after Lena vanished, a night maintenance worker named Carl Jennings reported something strange. At 2:17 a.m., the elevator stopped again. Same location, between floors. Carl checked the system logs and saw something impossible. The elevator had registered a stop at floor 0. There was no floor 0. Concerned, Carl used the service override key to call the elevator down. When the doors opened, he immediately stepped back. Inside, the air was colder, the lights flickered weakly, and on the elevator floor was a hotel keycard, labeled Room 0. Carl turned the keycard over to hotel management, but curiosity got the better of him. Later that night, he returned to the elevator alone. At 2:17 a.m., He inserted his service key, and this time he pressed the invisible button. The elevator responded, descending slowly, past the basement level, past sublevels that didn't exist on any building plan. The display numbers flickered, then went blank. Carl later described what happened next in a statement he would soon regret making. The elevator stopped, the doors opened, and he saw a hallway, long, dimly lit, endless, with doors on both sides, each labeled with numbers that didn't follow any sequence. At the very end, a single door, marked 0. Carl claimed he stepped out only for a moment. He walked toward the hallway and immediately felt something wrong. The air was thick, heavy, as if the space itself resisted his presence. He said he could hear faint voices, whispering behind the doors, some crying, some laughing, some calling his name. He turned back toward the elevator, but it was gone. The doors had closed, and the hallway stretched longer, far longer than before. Panicking, Carl ran toward door 0. As he approached, it began to open, slowly, from the inside, and standing in the doorway was Lena Hart. But according to Carl, it wasn't Lena. Not exactly. She looked the same. Same clothes, same face, but something was wrong. Her eyes, they were unfocused, empty, as if she were looking through him. She smiled, slowly, and said, "You found it too." Carl ran. He ran without looking back. The hallway stretched endlessly. The whispers grew louder. The lights flickered violently. Then suddenly, the elevator doors were in front of him again. He jumped inside, hit every button. The doors slammed shut, and the elevator shot upward. Carl Jennings resigned the next morning. He refused further interviews, but weeks later he was found in his apartment, alive, but unresponsive. On his wall, written repeatedly in black marker, were the words, "There are more rooms." Hotel management denied everything, claimed Carl was unstable. The incident was buried, records altered. Security footage from Lena's disappearance was classified, but one detail slipped through. On March 10th at 2:17 a.m., the elevator camera recorded something new. The doors opened on the 12th floor, and a figure stepped inside. Alone, it pressed a button between 12 and 14, then turned toward the camera. It was Lena, but this time she was smiling. In 2019, the Langford Grand Hotel underwent renovation. During construction, workers discovered a sealed section behind the elevator shaft. Inside, they found a narrow corridor, leading nowhere. No doors, no markings, except one thing scratched into the wall. 0. The corridor was immediately sealed again. No explanation was given. To this day, the hotel still operates. Guests come and go, unaware. But some late-night visitors have reported strange elevator behavior. Buttons that don't exist, floors that don't appear on the display. And occasionally, at exactly 2:17 a.m., the elevator stops between floors. The doors open, and for a brief moment there is nothing on the other side except darkness, waiting. So what do you think lies beyond that hidden floor? A secret part of the building, a psychological illusion, or something that was never meant to be discovered? And if the elevator stopped for you, would you step out? Comment your theory below. And if you're ready to uncover more mysteries hidden in plain sight, subscribe to the Raven Threads, because every thread leads to mystery.